Good morning, everybody. This is your maths lesson for today, for Thursday. So let's just get our brains warmed up. Let's talk about some of the facts we've been learning this week. So here we've got some number sentences or some sentences that we need to try and complete the missing numbers in so that they are correct. So let's look at the first one. The first one says 100 is the same as something ones. So we've got to think, how many ones would we need to make 100? And we should know that we've got 100 ones is the same as 100. And then we've got one something is the same as 100 tens. So if we've got 100 tens, 100 tens is the same as having 1,000, isn't it? Remember, 10 tens makes 100. So 110 makes 1,000. Okay, so question number 2, we've got £1 is the same as something times 1 pence. So you've got to remember that £1 is the same as having 100 pennies, 101 pence. And then we've got £10 is the same as something 1 pence. So again, if you know that 100 1 pence coins are £1, if you times it by 10, that should help us to know that 1,000 penny coins is the same as having £10. Okay, so for question number 3, it says 1/10 of 800 equals 800 divided by something. Now remember, when we're looking at a fraction of a number, so here's a fraction of 800, so it says 1/10 of 800. Because we're looking at a fraction, we need to always look at the denominator, the bottom number, to help us know what we're going to divide by. So in this case, we've got 800, there's 800. We need to divide by 10 to help us work out that fraction of that number. And then down below here, we've got 100th of 800. So again, we look at the denominator. We're going to divide 800 by 100 to work out the answer to this one. Okay, so let's move on. So now I want us to think about hundreds, because we're going to be dividing by hundreds today. So I'm just filling up this box with 100 place value counters. So you can see here I've got 10 hundreds. Now, what I want us to do is think about 300 divided by 100. So here I've got my 300s, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to be dividing by 100. Now think about how many groups of hundreds we've got. We've got 300 altogether, but we've got 3 groups of 100. We've got 1 group here, 2 groups here, 3 groups here. So we've got 3 groups of 100. Here's another one we've got. We've got 700 divided by 100. So again, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 700s. And we need to divide by groups of 100. So how many hundreds have we got? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 groups of 100. Now this time I've got 1,000 divided by 100. So you can see now I've got 10 groups of 100, haven't I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I've got 10 groups of 100. So now that helps me to know that 1,000 divided by 100 equals 10. So now I'm going to increase the number I've got. And this time I'm going to do 3,000 divided by 100. So because I've got a group of 10 hundreds here, that makes 1,000. And I've got another group of 10 hundreds, so that's another 1,000. And another one down here, I now have 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 altogether. We've got to think about how many groups of 100 we've now got. So we should have 10 groups of 100 in this one, and another group of 10 here, and another group of 10 here. So now we've got 3,000, which is the same as 30 groups of 100. So because we've got 30 groups of 100, we know that 3,000 divided by 100 equals 30. So here we've got another question. This one says 2,100 divided by 100. So this time what I've done is I've made the number up with these base 10 counters, these base 10 blocks. Now, remember, we've got 2,100, and that's the same as having 2,000 is my 1,000 and 100. Now, it's worth remembering that 1,000 is made up of hundreds, isn't it, really? So you can see here, I'm adding 100 each time to make 1,000. And if we know our facts, we should know that 10 hundreds makes 1,000, doesn't it? So I've got 10 hundreds here, which means I now have another 10 hundreds here. So actually, I've got 10 hundreds, 20 hundreds, and now I've got an extra one. So I've got 10, 20, 21 hundreds. So because I've got 21 hundreds altogether, I've grouped them into groups of 100, haven't I? So now I've got 21 hundreds, 21 groups of 100. So my answer is going to be 21. Now you might want to pause the video for a moment and see if you can spot a pattern. And we spoke a little bit about this yesterday when we were dividing by 10. It's all to do with our placeholders. Placeholders can be really useful in maths to help us do some shortcuts. So you might want to pause the video for a moment. What pattern can you see? So our answer is 21. And you can see in our number sentence, we had 2,100. We've got a 2 and a 1. Now, if you look here at the 100, we've got two placeholders. So if I just take them away, on this side, we've also got two placeholders, so I can take them away. And I can simplify my number sentence now to 21 divided by whatever we've got left, which is 1. Remember, when we divide anything by 1, the answer is the same, isn't it? So you can see here, look, there's 21 here. So that's a shortcut. And you are more than welcome to do that shortcut today to help you do your dividing by 100, because we want to be good mathematicians. We want to be fluent in our mathematical knowledge, which means we want to try and be as quick as we possibly can. So knowing these little tricks is really going to help you to be quicker mathematicians. Okay, so let's move on to the next set of questions together. There we go. Okay, so Eva has 300 1-pence coins. And she wants to know how many £1 coins is this equal to? So let's think about this. She's got 300 1-pence coins. So she's got 300 pence. So earlier on, we talked about the number facts, and we knew that £1 is the same as 100 pence. So she's got 100 pence here, another 100 pence here, and another 100 pence here. So she now has £3 coins, doesn't she? So we know that 300 1-pence coins is the same as £3 coins. And what we have done is we've done 300 divided by 100. We've shared 300 into groups of 100. So we've got 3 groups, so my answer is 3. And again, you might notice that we can use these placeholders to make it a little bit quicker for us. So across those placeholders. Now remember, they've got to be the same on each side. So we've taken away 2 on this side, and we've got to take away 2 on this side. So now we've turned our number sentence into 3 divided by 1. And when we divide anything by 1, we keep the answer the same, don't we? Okay, so in your blue folders, we included a place value chart, and this is to help us do lots of different types of operations. We've been using it to multiply, and we can use it to help us to divide. When we are multiplying a number, our numbers are getting bigger. So if I was multiplying, say, a 1 number, and I was multiplying it, because I'm making the number bigger, it's going to be moving up to the left of our place value chart. If I had a 10 number and I was multiplying it by 100, it would move up the chart as well. So say, for example, I had the number 3, I have 3 ones, and I was going to multiply it by 100. because we've got two placeholders by 100, that's a clue to tell us we need to move it over twice. So I would move my 3 ones over once and twice. So it would be 3 hundredths. And then I would add my placeholders. So we know that 3 times 100 equals 300. Now, we can do the same thing, but we are dividing today. So I want you just to pause the video for a second and think to yourself, if we're dividing, what are we going to change about how we're going to use the place values, the placeholders? How are we going to change it? So hopefully you would have said something along the lines of, because we're dividing, we're making numbers smaller. So this time we're going to be moving numbers on the place value chart to the right. And we've been looking at dividing by 100. And what we're really doing is we're making 100th of each of the numbers. So if, for example, I was having a number that was in the thousands column, I'd divide it by 100. I would move that number 2 places to the right, to the tens section. And if I had a hundreds number, I would move it 2 places to the right and move it to the ones column. So to find 100, we're going to be dividing today by 100, just like we've been doing. So here's another one, and we can use this to help us to work out dividing by 100. So remember, if I'm going to be multiplying, I'd move my digits to the left because I'm making a big number. Because I'm dividing, I'm making smaller numbers, I'm going to move them to the right. So what we're going to do then is do a quick practice together of some number sentences using the place value chart to help us. Okay, so let's have a go. Say, for example, I had, let's do 240 divided by 100. So my first step would be to put my big number in my place value chart. So I've got 200s, I've got 4 tens, and 0 ones. And I'm going to be moving them 2 places to the right. Now, let's start with the ones. Now remember that there's nothing at the minute to the right of my place value chart, but we've been doing lots of work, haven't we, using decimals. So we know that the next ones we would have over would be tenths, and the next one over that should be hundredths. So if I move my 0 over twice, 1, 2, I'm going to get a 0. And if I move my number 4 over twice, so 1, 2, I'm going to have my 4 over here. And then I'm going to move my 2 over 1, 2. And it's going to go into the ones column. So let's see what we've got. So let me just remove some of my drawings just to make things a little bit clearer for everybody. Let's get rid of these. So now you can see I've got my 2 in the ones column, and then I've got my 4 in the tenths column. Now, my decimal point would go here. So I've got 2.4, and then I've got a 0. And remember, this last place value, we can simplify it. We can take this away. We don't need it. So that's my answer is going to be left with 2.4. Let's do some more together. This time, let me just remove my drawings. This time, I'm going to do, let's do 4,500 divided by 100. So I'll put my number in to begin with, 4,500. I've got no tens, I've got no ones. I'm going to do the same thing. Now, I'm going to move my ones over twice. Now remember, we would have a 10th, and we would have 100 if it was over here. So I'm going to move my 1 over twice. So I've got 1, 2. So it's moved over 1, 2. And then I've got this 1 over twice. So 1, 2. I'd move my 5 over 2 places. So 1, 2. And then I've got my 4,000 2 places to the right. 1, 2. Okay, so I've shifted all my numbers 2 places to the right. If I had a decimal point, remember the decimal point doesn't move, it's always in between the ones and the tenths. So my decimal point would be here. So here I've got 4, 5, so 45, and then I've got a decimal point, and then I've got 2 zeros. Now remember, we don't really need those zeros, we can cancel them out to simplify the answer. So I've got 45 as my answer. 45. Now remember, you can make this even easier for you by using your placeholders to help you do it quickly. So remember, I can take away my placeholders on each side of these numbers, and I'm going to turn my new number sentence into 45 divided by 1, which is the same, isn't it? It's 45. Okay, so you've got one of these place value charts in your blue folders, and they're designed to be used with a whiteboard pen. So you can use it over and over and over again. You just need to wipe it clean. You might want to use that to help you get your head around dividing by 100. And then once you feel more comfortable, you might want to have a go at maybe using the simplified version, taking away the placeholders to make it quicker for you. Right, everybody. So what you're going to do is you are going to go away now and do your worksheet. I will send your adults a document with the answers on so that you can check your answers together. And I will see you later on. So take care. I hope this was useful. See you later.